Don't be like Drake when you're setting up your LLCs. Now, Drake has allegations that he's been using LLCs to have women sign non-disclosure agreements with them so they don't disclose information about their relationships or things they've been up to. Now, there's a lot of beef he's got going with Kendrick Lamar right now and these non-disclosure agreements. I'm not going to get into that, but I want to talk about how he's using LLCs and how he's freaking screwing it up. I want to teach you the lessons on how you should be using your LLC as a business owner or real estate investor. Now, I'm Matt Sorensen, wealth lawyer, award-winning entrepreneur, been an attorney for 20 years now, helping clients across the country set up their entities. I've done 10,000 consults in this area. I want to go over how you can properly get privacy planning and asset protection out of your LLC. And we're going to show how not to be like Drake and frickin' blow it. Now let's get into the case and let's actually just look at the LLCs themselves. Now I've pulled what is called the Statement of Information from California on Drake's LLC called Silence Policy LLC. That's right. Drake decided to name the LLC where he's signing non-disclosure agreements with people, mostly women he's in relationships with or people partying with him, so don't go talk about him. He's actually called that LLC Silence Policy LLC. That was dumb move number one, but that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is when you look at this LLC in section 5, it lists who owns it. It lists at least the manager or member of the LLC, and it lists Aubrey Drake Graham, also known as Drake. If Drake was hoping to get any privacy protection, which you think you would if you're having people sign non-disclosure agreements, you wouldn't want to be using an LLC that has your name on it with the state, particularly if you're an A-list celebrity or someone in the public sphere like Drake. Now, what should you do with your LLCs and how can you remain private on your LLCs? I'm going to go through the steps you need to do because you need to get 3 things right. When you file an LLC with any state, you have to file what's called Articles of Organization or a Certificate of Formation. Now, California has this Statement of Information on top of it. Everything's a little extra in California, but most states you're going to have Articles of Organization or Certificate of Formation. In those documents, you're going to list the name of the LLC, the address of the LLC, who the member is, who the manager is, and then who is the registered agent. Now, those 3 last ones there, who's the member, the manager, and the registered agent is where your name could show up on the LLC. Now, this is something that's gonna be out in the public domain. People can look up and see these 3 items of information in all 50 states. Now, there are some states like Wyoming, like New Mexico, that don't require you to list the manager or the member. You still need a registered agent, but you can list a registered agent company. Even Drake got that one right. He listed e-registered agent as his registered agent in California. Now, we have a registered agent company. We help clients be registered agent in all 50 states through our company, Main Street Registered Agent. Now, the registered agent is giving you address privacy. So by using the registered agent, you don't have to list your address here, and there's a address listed for legal notices and service of process. That's the easy one to solve. All 50 states, you can keep the registered agent and your name off of it. Now, the tricky ones are listing the member and listing the manager. Now, first, we never do member-managed LLCs and never list the member. That's an optional thing. Why would you choose to be a member-managed LLC and list the member? The member is the owner. You're volunteering to disclose who the owner is when you do member-managed LLCs. Always do manager-managed LLCs. And when you do manager-managed LLCs, in most states, you do need to list who the manager is. Now, if that's you, you will be listed as the manager. Now, for some people, they're like, I'm fine being listed as the manager. I am the manager. I want to be able to act for the LLC. I'm not a big organization where I can list someone else or an officer of my company or anything like that. I don't have a big structure I want to implement where I can get around this, which I'm going to come to here in a moment. You can still not be listed as the manager, but you do need to list the manager of the LLC. Now, that's what Drake did here, where he is listed in section 5 here on the Statement of Information. His name is freaking right there, Aubrey Drake Graham. So how do you be private then? How do I not have my name listed as the manager? I know I'm going to skip putting the member down. I'm not going to do member managed, so I'm going to do manager managed. So I got member out of the way. I'm going to list a registered agent company, so I don't have to list myself as registered agent. But how do I get around listing who the manager is? Well, there's some states where you don't have to list who the manager is. Wyoming and New Mexico are the 2 main states that we use in our law firm when we have a client that wants privacy protection. Now, maybe you have assets like brokerage accounts, or it's not an active business, or it's not real estate assets in another state, but they're just assets like brokerage account or investment assets that you can just use a Wyoming LLC from the beginning. And you don't have to list the manager on it. Our law firm could sign as the authorized rep setting up the LLC, use a registered agent company. You can use a mail forwarding address. We have that service too. Your name, your address doesn't show up anywhere on that LLC you can get privacy protection. Wyoming's the best state for it. Some people also use New Mexico. We tend to like Wyoming because there's a little better asset protection there too. Now, what if you're like, but Matt, what if I'm like Drake? I've got some business in California that owns assets. Maybe I'm a big landlord tenant. I don't want all these tenants to know where I'm at. Maybe I'm a celebrity in Hollywood. And I've had that. I've had Grammy award-winning artists who are clients that have wanted privacy protection, and rightfully so. They don't want people to know the real estate and other assets they own. So how can you do that? Well, you would take a Wyoming LLC where you set it up properly, where you're not listed. That Wyoming LLC becomes the manager of the LLC, whether it's in California or Colorado or another state. Listing the manager is an option here on the statement of information in section 5. You don't have to list an individual. You can list an entity instead. List the Wyoming LLC there, and there you do not have your name anywhere on the filing. You have a registered agent company listed. There is no manager or member listed now other than that Wyoming LLC that could be XYZ LLC. And then you go to Wyoming to look that up and you can't see who owns that. So that is a way you can get privacy in your LLCs. Now remember, privacy is not asset protection. Those are two different things. The benefit of an LLC is someone files a lawsuit against my LLC, they can't come after me personally, right? And that the liability is contained in the LLC itself. My separate LLCs, if you look at Drake's diagram here, he's got 23 entities here alone on his diagram. Now, privacy protection is about keeping your name private off of publicly available records. Asset protection is a different thing for your LLC. If you look at Drake's diagram here, he's got 23 entities on this alone, and these are ones where his name was disclosed on it. But in those entities, there's some of these LLCs that he probably doesn't care about privacy planning, his personal brand, his event business. Everyone knows it's freaking him. That's the point of it. But maybe he has some entities like Silence Policy LLC where he's signing non-disclosure agreements, or maybe he's got other investment assets or real estate. He doesn't want people to know that he owns those things. That is where privacy planning is important. But for all LLCs, you still have asset protection that if something happens in the LLC, if something happens in an event, let's say at a Drake event, they're forced to sue the LLC. They can't sue Drake personally. They're forced to sue the LLC, and they can only get at the assets in that LLC. The other 22 LLCs he's got, the other personal assets he has, are totally separate and protected from that liability contained in the one LLC. That is the asset protection of the LLC, but it's different from privacy protection and keeping your name off of the LLC or other publicly available documents. So Drake, we'd love to help you out here at our law firm. We'll do your trifecta for you, help you in your privacy planning and your asset protection, maybe some tax planning too, whatever you need. We got you. Any of you small business owners, real estate investors, we can certainly help you out at our law firm, KQS Lawyers. Now, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I'm going to be back here again, giving you more strategies to protect your assets, stay private, minimize your taxes, and save for retirement you're looking forward to. See you next time.